Good morning, Miss Reber. So we are here with Miss Reber this morning, interviewing her about her retirement.
Good morning, Maria. Good morning, Elsa. Yeah, it's hard to believe that Friday is the official last day tomorrow. So yeah, exciting, but a little like whew at the same time.
Yes, so we have a couple questions for you.
Mhm.
So our first one is, when did you begin your career?
Okay, so I started in officially January of 1991. Mr. Sunberg, who was a second grade teacher, I did a long-term substitute teaching position for him, and then was hired permanently the next summer.
Okay, nice. So were you always a principal?
No, I started out as I was a second grade teacher, and then I taught first grade.
Okay.
Then I looped with my kids, so I had my class in first grade, and then I had the same kids in second grade, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And so teaching wise, I guess it was about 14 years in the classroom, yeah. And then 10 years at Lintown as the principal. And then this is my beginning of what would be like the 10th year here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to become a principal?
I don't know, you guys probably have heard me say before, like nowhere in my like future career plans when I was 17, 18 did I imagine I would be, even going into education, let alone like let's be a high school principal. Like that just isn't where my mind kind of was. And then fell in love with teaching during actually a field experience for a totally different class. And then when I was in the classroom, and we have continuing education credits, and I decided to get my certificate, someday if I wanted to. It was very far in my future, if ever. And then all of a sudden that summer, something opened up in the district, and our superintendent, Dr. Duraco, had asked if that would be something I'd be interested in. And I remember asking him if I did it for a year and hated it, could I go back in the classroom? And obviously, I didn't hate it because I spent 20 years being a principal. So,
That's awesome.
So we know you've been here at LASD for a long time, so
Mhm.
can you share some of your most memorable moments from your time here?
oh my goodness. Well, I think some of the ones that I look at as most like I've been through like when the buildings reconfigured. So Lintown was K to 4, Kelly was K to 4, and then Southward downtown.
Yeah.
So I was at Old Kelly when it was just like two grades of every building. So going through and seeing the structure and how that move went. Certainly the move middle of the year from the old high school to this high school, that was very memorable. Not in a good way, but the pandemic was certainly memorable. But, I think the most memorable moments are actually, and they're the ones I cherish the most, are just those individual ones with kids.
Yeah.
So what achievements are you most proud of?
Honestly, I think I think other than, making sure building safety and you guys, staff and students are safe, I think hiring and putting the right people in the classrooms. And so, during 20 years of administration, I've sat in on lots and lots of interviews and made a lot of decisions there. And I think that hiring the right people that I know are student centered, that it's not just the 9 to 5 or the 8 to 4 to them, that see you not as just students but people, like that culture. And just we tell people when they interview here, like if you need anything, like you'll have an assigned mentor teacher, but everybody will work together. And I think and that sets the stage for all of your learning and activities and things. So I think that certainly is something that's been really important. And then I think the other thing is just to be open to different ideas so that when people come and ask about beekeeping or, or different activities, I think that they feel comfortable and they feel like if they have an idea that, I'll at least look at it. And it's that's how you change and build and grow. And I think it's being open to those opportunities and listening. So I think just some of the different programs and things, like we didn't used to have Model UN. We didn't obviously have a beekeeping, but just different ones that started that were student-based and being able to expand. We certainly haven't been able to do everything, but I love what students have created and felt that they could bring to the high school and having that voice from you guys.
Yeah, I feel like we do have a really good culture here
Mhm.
at Lewisburg, and I think that the teachers are really good, and just like always, I don't know, they want you to do what you want
Right.
to do. So, those were some of your achievements. So, what was some of your biggest challenges that you've had?
Well, the pandemic certainly, I think, was a huge challenge for
Yeah.
everybody. How are we going to, deliver, some form of, instruction while you guys were out when we came back? Keeping everyone safe, trying to, like having that semblance of school. But honestly, like the biggest challenges are just, when you see someone that is going through a hard time and sometimes feeling like, that maybe we can't do something to help right then. So I hate when I see, whether it's kids or staff or anybody, like, when they're going through a hard time and not necessarily, they'll be okay, but you want to be able to fix it and like not being able, to just fix something right away. Because part of it's also helping them learn how to fix it themselves. But yeah, I mean, there's always going to be things as a principal, like you're going to have to deal with discipline issues. You're going to have to deal with, maybe initiatives and things that you don't like. But I think, certainly the pandemic is got to be the thing that just really changed the game for everybody, because nobody, like there wasn't anybody you could look to guidance. Like when you're bringing in a new course, like, hey, how'd you guys handle this? No, we were all learning at the same time.
What advice would you give to our upcoming principal?
I'm trying to think what ones I've given. I think the main thing is to be open. That, and I've been guilty of this too. Like oh, we tried that, but remembering that maybe if we tried something 10 years ago and it wasn't successful, that wasn't necessarily the same people. Maybe people have new ideas for how to implement it then. And I think just the balancing, you guys know, and you see it from Mr. Popowitz, like that 7:15-ish time to 8:15, 8:30. That's kind of my sacred time, because what's really important is making those connections, building those relationships. During the day, you start to notice patterns, like, okay, are they just tired today? Or are they just, but I think it's just continuing to make sure, you have to lead with your heart as much as your head.
So looking forward, what are some of your retirement plans?
So I am looking forward to drinking a second cup of coffee at home in the morning, and not just having one as I'm walking out the door. We'll do a little bit of traveling. We are moving into a different house in Lewisburg, so we'll have some packing to do. But I think it's just kind of having that time to things that I've always enjoyed and liked to do or wanted to do, but haven't necessarily had that full commitment of time to be able to. So I'm kind of just looking forward to discovering of what makes me tick now that I'm not going to be here.
Yeah.
And of course, I'll still be busy at Lewisburg sporting events and plays, because I can't just all of a sudden not be at stuff.
Yeah.
So because that's just a part of who we are. We myself and Mr. Drozen enjoy that so much.
Yeah. So you talked about traveling. Are there any
Mhm.
like bucket list places that you have?
Oh, bucket list places. I'd love to go like Hungary and Austria and
Yeah.
some of those Eastern European countries that I haven't had the chance to explore. So definitely doing that. The first requirement though was I just needed a beach. So in December we are going to the Dominican Republic, so I can just have my sand and my beach
Yeah.
and my book and then I'll be good.
Yeah, sounds nice.
That second cup of coffee at home is always
Yes.
always so nice.
Yes.
So who is someone in this school who has made a huge impact on your life?
I don't know if I could just like narrow it down to one person. I think it's been a collective. In the district, I definitely would say Mrs. Moser, our current superintendent. When I started out and first went into administration, it was into her role at Lintown. And she has just been an amazing mentor to me. And then, of course, Dr. Duraco, who was our superintendent, for years, that really helped me see the possibilities of what leadership can be. But in terms of this specific building, I think there are so many ways everybody has impacted me. And it's not just learning what to do from someone, but like learning like, okay, this isn't how I want to approach this, or maybe there was a discipline thing that I could have handled differently. So like I'm always learning from our staff and from the students. So I don't think I can just narrow it down to one person.
So our final question is, what do you think that you'll miss the most from being here?
You guys, the staff, the people, standing on the L.
Yeah.
Standing on the L. Just it is so amazing to watch what the students from here go and do. And sometimes everybody, some people have their set plan. Oh, I know this is what I want to do. And some people have the, I'm not quite sure. But then just seeing out where everybody ends up and how passions change and interests change but definitely the people. The people it's not a building. It's the people that make it. So absolutely the people.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for meeting with us. It's
Yeah.
been great. We're gonna miss you so much.
Well, likewise. It has been a pleasure watching you two during your 4 years of high school.
Thank you. I hope you come to lacrosse games.
I will.
Well, thank you so much.
Yep.